welcome back, guys, to Sound of Manchester. This is Prathamesh, and with me is Kushagra. Kushagra, welcome back after a couple of episodes. We didn't have you for the Chelsea game, and I think that was probably the reason why we lost the game because our Gary Neville wasn't here. But anyway, I think it is now going to be important that now that you're here for the West Ham game, we pick up all 3 points because that is a necessity for the Champions League places right now. A victory takes us above Leicester City in the Premier League table, and this fixture is on Wednesday night in India at 10:30. That is tomorrow 10:30. So this is going to be quite some fun. It is going to be a tricky fixture because of the points we even discussed in the previous episode, the likes of Antonio, Yarmolenko. But also we have our own threats of Rashford, Martial, etc. Kushagra, what are your initial thoughts on the game against West Ham?
Hi, man, and a very big welcome to everyone, all of our viewers. As far as the Chelsea match, just my 2 cents on that match. It is for the best that I wasn't there on the review. We would have had to censor a lot of the review, and we wouldn't have had a functional video for it to come out. So it's good. This was a horrible weekend for United fans, and the only good thing to come out of it was the Tottenham result. So going ahead in our match, that really helps. Leicester losing there, and as it stands, Leicester have played a match more. United and Leicester are level on goal difference and on points, but Leicester do have an advantage in terms of more goals scored. So and also if you notice, West Ham beat Watford 3-1.
Yeah.
West Ham doing that ensured that they are safe. So West Ham won't be playing with that pressure of we need to stay up and we need to get something out of this game, which could work two ways. I feel it has worked against United in this past run that they've had in the past 2 weeks. Southampton didn't have much to play for. They were already safe, and United struggled a big time. Whether we accept it or not, United struggled against Palace also quite a bit. And again, Palace also did not have anything to play for. Palace was safe as well. So if you look at that trend, I'm sure David Moyes, when he's coming back to Old Trafford, he's come back many times, but he's coming back once again and want to, prove some kind of a point. He'd want to, get a point at least, or get something, put in a good performance from his team to show. So I don't think it'll be an easy game. Of course not. And especially given the lack of confidence in this United squad, because this has been going on for almost 3 weeks now, wherein United consistently start the game really slowly, and the Chelsea result wasn't an aberration. We've been seeing that. The first time we saw that was against Norwich when he made a lot of changes, and post that we've seen it in multiple games. We saw it against Bournemouth, right? Concede a stupid goal and
conceded 2 goals.
Your attack worked that day. That's why you won. You saw it against Aston Villa. Got slightly lucky with their non-goal and your goal and with your penalty and everything else. And you saw the same thing against Brighton, if I'm not wrong. And because you end up, what happens is this team doesn't. Either it needs to concede a goal to kickstart, or it just needs a water break or a halftime break for the manager to shout at it and for it to kickstart. I don't understand that. That is something that Solskjaer has to look at. I agree there isn't enough time in this season. The fixture list hasn't been kind to us, let's be honest. Chelsea had 2 more days to prepare for that match. United were 2 days behind. Solskjaer did mention that in his press conference.
Now they even have 2 more hours to prepare against Liverpool.
Yeah, but then the level of opponent that they have in Liverpool, I think
they can. 2 hours, right?
Yeah, they're allowed. They're allowed those 2 hours. But I don't know. I'm hoping that Chelsea drops points, because if Chelsea drops points, that ensures United go third. And if that is touch wood, we are all assuming United will win. I'm hoping for a good win and with a decent score line, so that we can boost our goal difference for the next round as well.
Yeah, and Kushagra, you talked about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and we did talk about a lot of tactical mistakes that happened previously, the lack of squad depth, etc. Talking about some issues within the squad, we have had a few in especially the last couple of games. There is still no update on Luke Shaw from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. His press conference took place a few minutes before we started recording, and it was quite clear that there wasn't any significant update on Luke Shaw. Uh, Eric Bailly remains injured, so he wouldn't be a part of the team. And Brandon Williams got through the last game, so we are expecting him that he will be ready for the next one as well. And also, when he was asked about David De Gea, he didn't want to talk much about De Gea. He has said it very clearly that he didn't want to make it a David De Gea press conference, and that he wanted to talk more about the team and what they need to do for the next couple of games, and especially the next game. So, I mean, Kushagra, we have seen there are a lot of opinions out there in the internet right now, and a lot of opinions that are suggesting that Sergio Romero should start. Uh, Probably my take on that is yes, because De Gea needs that little bit of punishment for what he has done. It isn't as if he has made this mistake for the first time ever this season. It hasn't happened this way. This has been going on for the past 2 seasons. So maybe it is high time that we gave Romero that chance, and it's a chance he deserves. To be honest, this is a fantastic track record at Manchester United, and I think he will be. I genuinely feel he will be. I don't think I feel Ole is slightly irritated by De Gea right now because that's what he hasn't done before. He has protected De Gea in press conferences before, but this is the first time he's actually avoided talking about De Gea. Kushagra, I mean, do you think that Romero will play, or do you think Ole at the end of the day is going to twist back again towards De Gea?
It remains up in the air. Though you're right, the way Solskjaer spoke today morning in the press conference, and the way he completely negated that question. He said we'll not talk about one individual, and we'd rather talk about the team. And he also said that he trusts De Gea to De Gea is mentally strong enough to come out of this. So he did sort of offer some sort of hope for De Gea, but I wouldn't be surprised at all that I wasn't surprised at all that there is any how do I say, there is any doubt in people's minds that Romero would start. Because the issue is we need to understand, we need to now start judging De Gea on what he's doing currently and not what he's done in the past. And he's gotten away with things, and consistently performing at that level in any position on the pitch. If it was your right back, left back, centre back, imagine we've been talking so much about Wan-Bissaka the last couple of weeks, whereas he's been probably our best player prior to the lockdown. He was the best player of the season prior to the lockdown. Yeah, because if you look at from the very start of the
season before lockdown, so
same thing with Fred. I felt Fred was one of the better players of the season before the lockdown. And when they have 2-3 bad performances, we give them crap, right? So De Gea has been immune from that. De Gea has been immune from that for a long while. I can agree that like a couple of years back, a lot of United fans, every summer they used to, I've spent summers just hoping, just sign this guy up.
Yeah.
Every summer you're wondering whether he'd go to Real Madrid, or now of late it was PSG. Sometimes, you used to have links with, of going to Italy or something like that, replacing Buffon or something. So, I mean, De Gea has had his links. He's flirted with clubs, especially Real Madrid, and he's wanted to leave the club in the past. So I'm not trying to, rewrite history and give him a bad name. I respect the guy. I love him for what he's done for United, but I think it also seems like there's something in his head. I don't think, you just don't become such a bad keeper overnight. I hope I'm not correct. I hope there aren't any personal issues.
Yeah, I think even Emiliano Alvarez said that in the contract negotiations he excluded him, and that he even went over his agent, etc., talked to the club directly. I think there is something wrong with him mentally. I think ever since I believe 2018, when it was against Spain versus Portugal, when we first saw what was that all about from David De Gea, where he fumbled Ronaldo's shots, and that is when I think from there it has only gone down. And if we are thinking now as a club, we need to think about the present and about the future. The present is that David De Gea currently isn't performing up to his standards. The future
Yeah,
is that we want to be in the Champions League. We aim to compete in the Champions League. We aim to compete for a Premier League title. For and in that case, we are looking at possibly either David De Gea improving drastically or Sergio Romero doing really well between the sticks, or an even more favorable option of Dean Henderson doing well for Manchester United, coming back as the number one goalkeeper. So if we need to analyze all these opportunities and we need to do them right now, because I don't think there is any tomorrow. If we drop points tomorrow, we are as good as done, to be honest. So I don't think we can afford that. De Gea's mental state is not right, and I don't think he'll start. So it should be Romero ideally. And other players like Matic has done well. I think we will see the midfield of Matic, Pogba, and Bruno again. Although Bruno hasn't had good games recently, but he still managed 2 assists and a goal in the last 3 bad games so far. And I think Greenwood will be back because Daniel James is, I don't know, he's lost it, I guess. But as I said a few episodes back, that probably his recent good contribution was a dance video. I think I'm going to stick by it now. That was rude then, but it isn't now. I think I'm going to stick by that. So Greenwood should start, and we will see Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, and these three in midfield: Bruno, Matic, and Pogba. In defense, we will again probably see Brandon Williams and Bissaka in full back positions, and uh, 80 million overrated Phil Jones, as many people called him on the social media. I don't know what to say about that. But Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof will start because Eric Bailly is not fit, and we don't have any other fit centre back. We have Fosu Mensah can possibly play in that position, but I don't think Ole is going to risk that right now. So, what about you, Kushagra? Any other changes that you expect in the lineup?
no, I don't. I think the reason he rested so many players was because it was that this game is more important. So in a way, I don't blame. So I think I made it very clear to you as well when we were discussing this. I did not have a problem with Ole resting players. I just had a problem with him unnecessarily changing his system. It doesn't matter if Chelsea play a
Yeah,
3-4-3.
exactly.
First of all, we don't know. We don't know how to play a 3-4-3 because we don't play a 3-4-3. We play a 5-2-3, and a 5-2-3 with a striker who can't run to save his life. You're allowing him to sit on top of your D and just having two holding midfielders around him and then having two nincompoop defenders around him. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
that
Harry
was like
Maguire,
people
yeah,
criticizing Harry Kane for playing in his own box.
yeah, yeah. So I'm sorry, but Harry Maguire, for all that he's done, I never expected him to get the captaincy so early, and I
Yeah,
think if it continues in this manner, his captaincy is at risk because you cannot have a captain who's so prone to mistakes. You cannot. And people will defend him that he needs a better partner in Lindelof and all, but a lot of his mistakes haven't been
are his own
attributable to
doing.
Lindelof. Yeah, there is own doing. If you're getting
I
nutmegged,
think I think
if
Lindelof has bailed him out quite a few times, to be honest.
yeah, if you're getting nutmegged, if you're just simply misplacing passes, if you're not there for your clearing headers and everything else, what has Lindelof got to do there? He can't cover you for everything. So, I mean, not like Lindelof is without his faults either. So,
Yeah,
I suddenly, prior to the lockdown, didn't feel like our defense needed such major surgery. But in spite of that 80 million pound injection, and I don't see it happening, we need another centre back, or we need Swansea to get fit and actually, you know,
play.
prove our hopes true that he's the next guy. So yeah, as far as the team is concerned, I think he'll go with the squad that you just said. And my scene is that I think Luke Shaw might play. I think Luke Shaw will be back. I don't think he'll play Brandon Williams. And if Luke Shaw plays, honestly, I'll be more secure. I'll be happier because
Yeah,
without doubt he's the best left back at the club. And I'm in a way I'm happy for him. He's proved all his doubters wrong, and he's playing well, and he's being missed. So
I, I doubt Kushagra, had I asked this to you or anyone at the start of season, had I asked this to myself at the start of season, I wouldn't have said that Luke Shaw is the best fullback at the club. No way. But I think he's improved massively.
Yes.
He's done really well. And the most important thing is he started to understand it is all about creating partnerships as well at fullback position. He's created a good one with Marcus, like he did with Memphis very early. And I think this one is even better in many ways.
Yeah.
And he's become really good defensively, which was something which he didn't have in his game. He's become really good defensively. And he now has the proper sense of timing his runs. He positions himself really well when United are off the ball. On the ball as well, he's always available. He's always available at least for a one-touch pass. So I think that is really crucial. He's really developed that tactical ability into his game from the days of Jose Mourinho instructing him from the touchline to what we're seeing of Luke Shaw now is a massive improvement within a scale of a year. So
Yeah.
probably after all, that last season's trophy, after all, was probably slightly deserved in a way. In hindsight, now that we're seeing him, but yeah, I think Luke Shaw, if he does start, it's massive for us. It's a massive boost for us, no doubt about that. And coming to predictions, I predicted in the last video that United might not win this game, and it's been a day since we have done that. I still feel United might not because I doubt when I look at the likes of Antonio, Yamalenko, Declan Rice playing so well in midfield, Suchek scoring off almost every set piece. I doubt that we have the defensive capability right now to win the game. We might concede a couple of goals. And if we concede a couple of goals, you cannot expect your strikers to bail you out every day. So, I mean, that's still my prediction. My prediction is still a 2-2. What about you?
True.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I predicted 2-1 for the Crystal Palace game, and it was 2-0. I did not do the video, thankfully, for Chelsea. Would have been proven drastically wrong. Whatever I had predicted definitely
You said
wasn't
3
going
0
for out.
Southampton. You said 3-0 against Southampton, so.
Oh yeah. So yeah, 3-0. That was because we were 3-0 FC for those 3 weeks, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, मतलब ठीक है, जो भी है, जैसा भी है. But yeah, now coming back to this game, it's going to be a really tough game. You're right. Suchek has been scoring. Antonio is in good form. They have Lanzini who's come back. I think
Yeah.
Felipe Anderson starts on the bench these days. Yarmolenko has been playing decently well. Uh, and Declan Rice scored a
Ah,
stunner
Cresswell's free
last
kicks.
match day.
How can you ignore Cresswell's free kicks against
Yeah, of
us?
course, Cresswell's free kicks and his crosses from the wing.
Yeah.
both will be a handful for United. So West Ham have a lot of attacking options in that sense. A lot of ways that they can hurt United. And you're right. I have absolutely no faith in this defense to keep a clean sheet. So I think they'll concede. But I'll be slightly more positive than you. I'll go for a 2-1 win. And
Okay.
if United do manage to get the 3 points, it'll be massive because, as we were discussing
Yeah.
earlier, we all hope that Chelsea will drop points at Liverpool. Though you can't trust Liverpool for anything, but we're hoping that the whole entire ego boost of we want to win our last match at home, that that will help United as well. So if that happens, United will jump to third before the last game week, and that will be a good position to be in, even though
Yeah.
still the Leicester match
Still is as
still will
important. It
be.
doesn't change.
It'll,
Doesn't change anything.
as Sir Alex said, used to say, it'll be squeaky bum time. So Leicester would be one hell of a match. That'll be a tough watch, man. That will be a tough
Yeah.
watch. We'll be all biting our nails off.
So yeah, thank you, Kushagra. So we are going to play at Old Trafford, our final game at Old Trafford this season in the Premier League. This is again just to remind our viewers on Wednesday night at 10:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. We hope for a victory. We genuinely do. Whether our brain thinks about a yes in a victory or not, but we genuinely hope for one, and we hope for a one with a better goal difference, so that when we play Leicester, we are slightly more comfortable. We are not twitching our A something like LVG used to say. So I hope we go into that game more comfortably and that we beat our ex-manager who made our lives miserable for almost 10 months or 6 months. So thank you, Kushagra. It was lovely to have you back, and it has been lovely to be a part of this Sound of Manchester panel, because this has been much more eye-opening for even all of us as football fans to talk about the game, get more knowledge about what is happening. We are creating new content almost every alternate day now, and we are able to record the same day, post the same day. So we're improving as a team, and we're trying to get better and provide more interactive content for you guys, for all our viewers. So thank you to all of you, and stay tuned to Sound of Manchester. And hopefully, as I said a few episodes back, that we record the review of the game with a huge smile on our face, because we have probably beaten West Ham, and we have probably hammered West Ham. So let's
Yeah.
see that happen, if that happens or not. So thank you guys.